FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome, and you are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's Monday, May 21st, 2018. Well, we haven't been covering cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, etc., that much as of late, and you know the reason why. But first, as always, best part of my day is when I see your email in my inbox. When I wake up in the morning and I get to respond and listen to comments, etc. So don't hesitate to write me. The email address is kl@kerrylutz.com. Jerry, you can write me too, even though you're a troll. We love to hear from trolls. We invite trolls to communicate with the show as well. So without further ado, getting back to cryptocurrencies, the current price of Bitcoin's right around $83.74 for you real crypto enthusiasts. Ethereum, $6.95 and falling. So let's talk with somebody who knows what they're talking about as far as cryptos are concerned, at least more than I do. And you're about to hear from Taylor Letterman. Taylor, you are a cryptocurrency analyst, trader, and a web developer. Bought your first Bitcoin in 2016. Welcome to the party, and welcome to the Financial Survival Network.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So looking at cryptos, okay, where we're at right now, we're about to go into cryptos 2.0, aren't we? Or maybe 3.0.
Yeah, soon. There's various ones that are built off. Even Ethereum has multiple iterations on it now. But even launch of the derivatives platform is really revolutionizing trading in crypto as well.
Yeah. So do you have a trading platform that you use to trade cryptos?
So in the U.S., it's a bit different. We do have some restrictions on what exchanges we can use, what products we can trade. If I'm trading futures, I stick with the CME. If I'm trading just altcoins, so the Ethereums and the smaller coins, Binance. And if I'm just buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, I usually stick around with Coinbase or GDAX.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, Coinbase is like an extension of the U.S. government. They know everything about you. They've got all your identity info. So in any event, if you're trading cryptos, honesty is the best policy. Just let the government know when you make money, but also let them know when you lose money, and you won't have any problems. So the trend in cryptos now, though, these currency tokens, if we want to call them that, they're not. Cryptos are not really a currency, but I'm not going to get into the classical economist's definition of money. They don't comport to that, but let's just say that they're wannabe currencies. We got these security tokens coming up now, and that seems to me to be the true revolutionary aspect of cryptocurrencies, if you will. What are you thinking about them?
Yeah, I think there's some neat ones out there. Of course, with anything in crypto, you want to do your due diligence and research it enough. But there's interesting ones out there. One called Polymath, for instance, is allowing the tokenization of real estate or venture capital funds. And they're pretty far in development, so I'm excited about that project particularly. But there are a lot of ones that are coming out just blatantly creating platforms saying that they're a security platform to trade crypto securities, such as Polymath. So I definitely think it's going to be something that sticks around for a long time. Whether all cryptocurrencies do or not, I think the security piece is going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, I saw at the North American Bitcoin conference in Miami, they were securitizing cars, they were securitizing art. I know people right now who are working on setting up security tokens for precious metals, but not just guys who say, well, we got the metal, blah, blah, blah. No, these are people that actually store the metal subject to audit with the Royal Canadian Mint. They've already got the blockchain accounting set up for their metals. Now the next step 2, is actually having security tokens. So you'll be able to hold metal that's actually on deposit, that is audited quarterly, and you'll be able to hold it in your wallet. So a lot of stuff happening.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot to do with that. And then even the logistics of shipping precious metals or precious jewels having that backed by logistics-based blockchain technology is also revolutionizing another space.
For sure. So yeah, they were like securitizing exotic vehicles. I'm not sure that that's the way I would want to go. There's, it's kind of the Wild West right now with all of these crypto tokens, right? I mean, it's really, vastly unregulated and largely just caveat emptor, right? I mean, it's just buyer beware.
Right. And I think the regulations are looming. So we recently had sort of, don't want to call it a scare, but where the CTFC and SEC met a secret meeting, supposedly, at least published by the Wall Street Journal, saying that they were meeting to discuss whether Ethereum would be labeled a security or not. And so everyone's sort of in this debate mode where Ethereum sort of lies in a gray area, whether it should be labeled a security or it's the current state of Ethereum shouldn't be classified as a security because it's because of the mining, the different consensus around the network.
Right. Well, it's look, if you're raising money from strangers, if that's your business plan, then largely settled law that probably should be called a security, regardless what you want to call it. And it's a sign of the market's maturity that they're even contemplating embracing some type of basic regulation, don't you think?
Sure, absolutely. Price will take a hit if Ethereum is labeled security, simply because a majority of ICOs and relatively new cryptocurrencies run on the Ethereum network. So if Ethereum is labeled security, then most likely all the tokens running on it can also become labeled as a security. And if that is to happen, a lot of the exchanges crypto traders trade on will no longer be able to operate in the U.S. simply because they're unlicensed and trading securities.
Right. So, but it might be that kind of like intermediate step, not where everybody who sells the stuff has to be licensed to trade it. I don't think they'll go that far. I think it'll be more a registration disclosure requirement, at least initially. Hey, that very well might be down the road where you actually restrict who is allowed to buy and sell crypto on exchanges. But I think that's probably a bridge too far at this particular moment. Probably right now it's like, hey, basic information like, are the people who are sponsoring this new cryptocurrency, do they have prison records? Have they been barred from the securities business in the past? And right, did they cheat their grandmother out of her inheritance, the widows and orphans test? I see it more that way, an intermediate form of regulation of like a lesser kind of small business regulation, which you don't have all these crazy filing requirements. But before you go issuing a new one, you got to do an actual prospectus or a private placement memorandum, not just a white paper, which means, these digital white papers aren't worth the paper they're not printed on, most of them, right?
Right, exactly. They're just thoughts. They're just ideas with little to back it. Not even most of the time, it doesn't have a team or even a location that they're located that you can actually do any research on the individuals behind the white paper.
Or an office where you can sue them after you lose your money.
Right.
So, there was a guy, I was talking with somebody at the Bitcoin conference, and I said, this gold-backed one's going to be like one of the first real ones that are backed by an asset. And this guy heard me. He said, oh, no, we have a cryptocurrency that's backed by cell phone minutes. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I can go to the 7-Eleven and buy a big gulp, double gulp soda, assuming Mayor Bloomberg allows me to do it, with cell phone minutes. That's what you're trying to tell me? Come on. It's silly, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot. This is the Wild West.
I mean, there's excitement in the sort of the market, just with some of the really interesting projects that can actually make great change or disrupt some industry. And there's just as many, if not more, scams or ones out there just sort of a money grab attempt. So that's sort of the difficulty with educating people on cryptocurrency and getting them involved is understanding just because it's a cryptocurrency, just because it's listed on an exchange, it doesn't mean it's something you should be investing in or trading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, so if there's three things you got to tell people to watch out for when they're thinking of buying a cryptocurrency, regardless what it is, what are the three things you need to look out for?
So first off, the first thing I do is if I'm investing in anything, no matter the time frame, is I like to make sure this is something I at least understand the basics of the project. Mm-hmm. Just because there's so much out there, you kind of want to know what you're investing in, even if it's not cryptocurrency. You want to know what you're putting your money into. Sometimes the best way to do that is, especially with cryptocurrency, just because there's so much to learn, so much to understand, that if you can take $10, invest it into Bitcoin, then you kind of have some skin in the game. Even if you just set up a Coinbase account, put $10 in, that's you're just finally kind of seeing how that works.
Yes.
And then after that, I guess that's two things. So the third would just be watch out for scams. Don't send anybody. And cryptocurrencies, the private key is what unlocks your wallet and gives you access to the coins in that wallet. Never send that to anybody, and be wary of phishing attacks. So that's sort of how people are hacking into cryptocurrency exchanges, whereas crypto itself or Bitcoin itself has never been hacked, but the exchanges themselves can be hacked, or at least phished. So make sure you're going to the right domain, bookmark it. Once you use the exchange, bookmark it, rather than having to go through Google, because sometimes an ad can be phished, and then you can lose your funds by putting it into the wrong address.
For sure. So got like a lot of things you need to be wary of. And I think you make a great point. The fact is, none of the currencies have been hacked. The blockchain so far to date has remained immutable. No power on earth, the NSA or anybody else, can actually get into the blockchain and corrupt it. And that's its greatest asset, right?
Absolutely. And it's distributed. It's no central entity can maintain consensus of it because of how the mining and the network actually functions. So I can't take control of the Bitcoin network. The government can't turn off the Bitcoin network. They can't remove access to it from their country. It's pretty much sort of, I don't want to say untouchable by a government, because they can kind of regulate their citizens, but they can't regulate the Bitcoin network.
Yeah, and the best thing is that you can't you can't fool the blockchain. That's really what it comes down to. And yes, you can regulate your citizens to a point, but you can't regulate what they think. And they get onto a virtual private network. They can go to virtually any place on the planet, any website, and do what they want to do. And there's not much your government can do to stop it either, can they?
Yeah, exactly. They're just going to sit there. I mean, you can still send transactions and receive transactions. And that's what a lot of people are actually, one of the values of Bitcoin is being able to send transactions globally without hindrance of a government.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as your programming efforts go here, Taylor, what kind of programming are you doing on the blockchain? Because I know you blockchain developers are in serious demand, even as much or more so than AI developers.
So I started as a developer, and then just simply, if you know any web developers out there, they spend way too much time on the internet, and that's how I kind of got involved in cryptocurrency. So I've sort of utilized it in the company I work for, Simpler Trading. We teach people how to trade all sorts of assets. So through development and through cryptocurrency, I started building trading bots. So that's sort of my area of development in cryptocurrency is just the trading bots. So that's what I've been playing with a lot lately, setting up APIs and automating trading. Yeah,
well, it reminds me of after the crash of 1987, stock market crash. Probably you were very young or maybe not even born then. And what happened was that the market makers refused to answer their phones while everybody was trying to sell their stocks off, which led to massive losses, margin calls, et cetera. And the SEC said, we're never going to let this happen again. And they set up this thing called the Small Order Execution System. And my friend, the late Harvey Houtkin, looked at it and said, gee, they're not coordinated. This market maker I can buy from, and this one I can sell to. I can buy it cheaper from this one and sell it to this one for more and realize a guaranteed risk-free profit. And this went on for a few years till the big brokerage houses wised up to what he was doing, and others started it right around the same time. You can do stuff like that where you can buy on one exchange and sell on another and realize an arbitrage profit if you have the right trading bot or platform to do it, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. And that was my first foray into trading bots, was the arbitrage between different exchanges. At the time, they've gotten better about it now, but if a new coin was listed on one exchange, then price automatically is going to go up with more accessibility to any current cryptocurrency out there. As accessibility goes up, the price tends to follow, at least in the short term.
Right.
So I was able to arb between an exchange that had a coin listed for a while and buy it there and send it over to the new exchange. And I would just set up sort of like being notified when a new coin is listed and then automatically purchase and then sell it on a corresponding exchange. And that was a great way to enter the market, taking advantage of that. Of course, like I said, the APIs now have gotten a little faster. They've better at price discovery. There's more volume and liquidity in the market, so price tends to balance out quicker. So it's not as easy to do now, but there's still potential in different markets.
Yeah. So there's still opportunity there. You can still do it.
Absolutely.
It's just you got to be a lot smarter. Your bot had to have, whereas before your bot maybe only needed an elementary school education, now it probably needs like a GED, right?
Yeah, you have to additional market fluctuations and stuff really affect it. So you got to know when to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, hey, people are going to want to find out more about you, what you're doing. Is there a way to connect with you on the internet, Taylor?
Sure. I do teach cryptocurrency trading, and our company is simplertrading.com. And then if you want to go there, sign up for our newsletter, sends out all of our cryptocurrency blog posts, as well as any information on the current market cycles and updates and so on. That's probably the best place to get my information on cryptocurrency, at least.
All right. That sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good idea. If you're interested in it, just go over to Taylor's site. Hey, questions, comments, like I say, love it when you're part of the show. Email me, kl@kerrylutz.com, Twitter feed @kerrylutz, Facebook page, Financial Survival Network. If you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button and click that little bell so you get notified when we post new shows. And like I told you before, we're doing our best now to post shows 9 a.m. or 8 to 9 a.m. and noontime. And then if we have another show or segment during the day, we'll post it up there at whatever time it's ready. So therefore, we'll be predictable and consistent like I lecture so many of you to be, because that is the key to success in life. Taylor, been a pleasure. Good luck on your forays in the digital currency world and success wherever it may take you. We'll talk to you again. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.